Who Rent to Rent will work for? Hello and welcome to the Property Unleashed YouTube channel with me, Mark Fitzgerald. Fantastic to have you joining me here. So who is rent to rent good for at the end of the day? Let's just go through a few different categories here. Now, first and foremost, with landlords, investors, letting agents, even estate agents, we can work with them. But who's it good for on our front? A lot of the times, people just looking to get started in property that don't have the 25% deposits to put into deals can start acquiring property to control and manage and make money from whilst doing a good job. And that's very important. We need to make sure we're always doing a good job, but you can do this in a very cost-effective manner. I've never paid for deposits and I've never paid for a refurbishment on any of my deals. Now that's not to say that I wouldn't, it's just to say that I've negotiated my deals and I now show my clients how to negotiate deals in such a manner because we don't own the properties, but we will maintain them to the top standard that we receive them in. So who is it really good for? As I said, it's good for people looking to start out in property and build up a business to maybe give them more time freedom, maybe break free from the 9-to-5 slog that they're currently stuck in, to be able to spend more time with their loved ones, with their families, or to be able to make more money. You can still do rent to rent alongside a full-time job. In fact, you can build it up to the point where it matches your wage, and then of course, the world's your oyster. You can stay working if you enjoy your full-time job, or you can give it up and then be in the business full-time. And safe in the knowledge that you've got the money coming in all the time. I took voluntary redundancy when I started my rent-to-rent business, not by any choice, but just because the opportunity was there to do so. So I did, and in 6 months I managed to replace my corporate wage. In 8 months, because things start happening quickly, I managed to double my corporate wage, and I've never looked back since. I was planning on doing this alongside a full-time job, and I have students that do this alongside a full-time job and are doing very well with it as well. So equally to that, investors, property investors who are doing flips, who are doing refurbishments, at some point you will run out of money. And if you're relying on that money to live on as well, it can be a risky game. So by getting a handful of rent-to-rent deals, i.e. HMOs or serviced accommodation, short-term rentals, you can build up a little portfolio that hasn't cost you a massive amount of money to bring in some extra cash flow to potentially help you live on while you do these flips, while you do these deals, while you do these refurbishments. Very important to make sure that you have cash flow coming in. We can all look at, the GDV on doing a flip, and maybe it's made us 30 grand, maybe it's made us 40 grand. But again, it can take 6 months, 12 months for any deals to go through to get the cash out. And if you're trying to survive on that cash and you haven't got a monthly cash flow coming in, it can be very, very stressful and very difficult to do. So investors can do rent to rent just to help boost up their cash flow while they're building up their pot of investment money. Landlords, I get a lot of existing landlords with quite big portfolios coming to me, and maybe their portfolios just aren't structured right. They're just not set up in a cost-effective way. So I help these people. I do some one-to-one coaching, and I help them set their own properties and existing properties up in a manner that they will make more money. So potentially they might convert some to HMOs, or they might convert some that they can do to serviced accommodation, short-term rentals, Airbnbs. Now they're not doing rent to rent on themselves, they are just setting them up to be more cost effective and efficient. But wait for it. Then they start looking for some rent to rents themselves to add to their own portfolio. Why? Because once you're set up, or you can do this when you're trying to set up, you'll have the systems in place to easily be able to add a few more properties into your portfolio. And of course, you've already got the systems there that are working for your own portfolio. So it's very easy for an existing landlord to up their cash flow and maybe pull in a bit more by looking after and doing rent to rent deals with other landlords, looking after their properties. And again, not like a letting agent, where a letting agent might need 200, 300 properties just to be breaking even, just to be making a bit of money. We only need a handful of these if we do them with rent to rent, and we're looking to make more profit through those. But we can also help other landlords make more profit as well. So, landlords are a great source of being able to flip the switch if they know what they're doing and take on other landlords' properties. So I do have portfolio landlords who are doing rent to rent with other landlords because now they've got the systems and everything in place. So if you're interested in rent to rent, visit thepropertyunleashed.com, download the free rent to rent guide, download the serviced accommodation guide as well to see which one you like, whether it's HMOs or whether it's serviced accommodation. HMOs, once set up and run, pretty much give you more time freedom. Again, serviced accommodation can, but there's a lot more moving parts to do at the beginning. So make sure you download our free 10-step guides to really give you an idea about how both strategies are. We have a deal analyzing spreadsheet there, and we have a free masterclass as well. And these things are changing all the time. So if you do click on there and there's something completely new there, you can have that as well. I put these free things out there because I believe what goes around comes around in life. And when I was starting out on my property journey, I used to try and download everything I could just to find out more about things. So there is really why you should be looking at rent to rent in your property investing journey. Now, even if you're looking at being a deal sourcer, at the end of the day, I would say learn how to do the rent to rent strategy, because deal sourcing is great, but sometimes it can take, again, time for sales to go through or sales fall through. So bringing in some cash flow at the same time is brilliant. Plus, if you know how to do the rent-to-rent strategy, you can go out there and you'll know how to find good rent-to-rent deals. There's so many deal sources that think they've got rent-to-rent deals when you actually look at the numbers and they're poor. Why? Because they've never done any rent-to-rent training. They don't actually know what a good rent-to-rent is if it's slapped them in the face. So get out there and be the property professional in each sector. And if you're doing deal sourcing and things like that, do some training. Do some training on rent to rent. Do some training on the different, if you're doing commercial units, do some training on whatever property strategies you're looking at trying to sell, so that you know that you're selling the best things, rather than somebody saying, I'm a deal sourcer and I can just do this. I've gone a bit off a topic there, but it's just one of those things to make yourself the property professional. And if you're just looking at getting into rent to rent, of course you can sell the odd deal that doesn't suit you, but make sure you are the property professional in your area. We have the rent to rent business builder, we have the ultimate SA serviced accommodation business builder. Both will help you with rent to rent. Obviously one is serviced accommodation, one is HMO. We cover both topics in extensive detail with coaching and ongoing support. So if anything like that interests you, visit thepropertyunleashed.com or reach out to me. So all that leaves me to say is thank you very much for joining me today. Keep focusing on your vision, keep chasing those goals, and make sure that you're monitoring your goals all the time, because only you can do this. I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.